Welcome to Into the Studio. So basically, you know how we were doing the whole queer musician thing? We have expanded for the year of 2022. So now we're doing all sorts of queer creatives. So to start us off, we have my friend Ellie Desautels. They are a transgender actor based on the East Coast who is best known for Rise on NBC.
Quick little synopsis of Rise, like the first episode, right? It's a bunch of kids in high school fighting for their lives, trying to keep their theater drama department open, basically.
Yes.
Like fighting for their lives right now.
It truly brings out the theater kid in you. I genuinely really do recommend watching it because it's so good. It's only for one season, but it's so good.
Anyway, we talk about that later, about the one season thing. But theater kid in mind, Ellie has a BA in theater. Super predictable for a theater kid, right? Obviously, like if you're not gonna go into acting without a theater degree.
I don't have a theater degree.
Not always. Special cases, right? But yeah, like during college, they got like discovered by like a management company, and then they were auditioning, which is how they got the role of Rise. Super fun, super cool. Aside from acting stuff like that, Ellie is working to improve trans non-binary representation, film and TV, stuff like that. Also a singer-songwriter, but as we found out, people who sing and dance and write things, right, also do like a bunch of other stuff. But today we are focusing on the actor aspect instead of musician.
Aside from, being on the screen, well, I guess this also counts as a screen, but like more of a phone screen, Ellie has a TikTok of 10.5K followers, and they post like a variety of topics, like either their own little short films or like point of views or scenes or just queer content with their partner.
I think my favorite part about their TikTok though is they'll have like I found out you're the killer versus if I found out I'm the killer, kind of like side by side like acting prompts or whatever that they do. I love those so much, and like you'll see one right now. But like my favorite part, we also talk about later. They're having an issue with bots on their TikTok, so you should go follow them.
Follow their TikTok.
Yes. They also share content from now on with like their partner Ren, who, by the way, does like furniture restoring, right?
Yeah, oh my god, Ren, he does. Well, first off, Ren's user is like the most amazing thing I've ever heard because he does furniture restoration. So the username is renovating, like Ren, the name, and then renovating. So I think that's so cool. But like the Ellie and Ren live in like I think it's like a rented out Victoria mansion or something like that, and it's constantly like just like restoration of old furniture, and I'm like ASMR.
We're switching up the format for this video a little bit. Short introduction, big interview, so we get more time with Ellie, more time to talk about their stuff, more time to like give them space. So we're gonna hop into that now.
Hi, Ellie. Thank you so much for meeting with us with this great interview.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. How are y'all?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Great. I'm doing pretty good.
Okay. So anyway, we got a list of questions to ask you.
Okay.
And okay, so basically the first one is who or what got you into performing arts?
Oh my God. Oh, well, my siblings probably. We are a musical family. My mom can sing, my dad can sort of sing, but like me and all my siblings like grew up playing instruments. So I started performing playing trumpet
Hey, I
in
played
like a
trumpet.
band campus. You did?
Yeah.
You look like a trumpet player.
Just got the vibe.
Yeah, no, it is a vibe. Yeah, that's how I started really. I like band camps and stuff, and then I went into marching band because my older siblings did that. So that was the start of it. But then also like when I was learning how to play trumpet, like really early on, my parents put me in theater camp, which was just like a fun little thing. We never did, it was like fairy tale stories. My first role ever was the ugly duckling. Hell yeah, that's so
God,
trans.
Yes.
So yeah, that was the first bit. But like, yeah, I mean, I think I've always had it, and then I think my siblings have always inspired me, and I've always wanted to walk in their footsteps. My older brother was in, like, they weren't really musicals at high school. It was, like, he wasn't like in like the musicals. There was this thing called adaptations where they used to like take something that wasn't a musical and then like put music to it and make it a musical.
Mm.
um I remember one that he was in was The Breakfast Club, and then they put in like, like 80s pop music in it. It was very cool. um so I had always wanted to do that, and because I would watched him, and so once I got to high school, I got back into theater because I did theater camp, and then I stopped doing that. Yeah, I got into it again in high school. Yeah, I think that's where I got bit by the theater bug. Because I really enjoyed it, but it was always just fun. So I wasn't like thinking about it as like a thing I could do forever. It was just like I had a lot of fun doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so much fun in high school. You
Yeah.
get to hang out with your friends and let's just like do some fun, stupid shit with your friends. And yeah, that was really, really great. Eventually, adaptations became shortening musicals that already existed. So kind of lost, like the main concept of what it was supposed to be, but it was still fun.
I do know. I see the pan flute behind you in the wall, right? That's what it is.
Yes.
But do you have hobbies that like aren't acting or music based?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm doing videography, so behind the camera. That's been a lot of fun, and I also can sell wands because I'm a pagan witch. And so that's like one way that I practice. I guess it's just like one way that I can actually sit down and like give attention to that part of me. I made my first wand last year, and I just like knew I would be good at it, and it came out really great. And I've just gotten better and better, and it's just been really calming and grounding.
Going back to like performing arts and like acting stuff, was there any important trans rep for you growing up? Whether that's like really good trans representation or like really bad trans representation?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is like Elliot in the Fosters, Elliot Fletcher. I watched that like after I had come out as non-binary, like a couple of years into my like social transition. So that was like the first good representation I saw. But I had seen like other representation before that before I figured out I was trans. Like I watched Boys Don't Cry and did not finish it because obvious reasons. That's an intense movie. Adam from Degrassi was like should have been a really pivotal moment for me if I had the language to understand that I was trans, but I didn't. And I didn't even like, no, I think they mentioned the word trans maybe twice in the 2 episodes of like his story. It just didn't register at all. And I had never heard it before, so I didn't really know what it meant. Like I felt like I was made wrong, and I was like, if this is true, then I'm like incorrectly made. And so it was really yeah, just really sad. It was like a couple of days of just like kind of having a identity crisis, but like it didn't really make sense. And I'm also really empathic and sensitive when it comes to like watching characters, and I can also get like obsessive, I guess, with a character. So I just like chalked it up to like being sensitive and kind of like taking on his story as my own when it wasn't true at all, even though it was partially, the gender thing. So I pushed that, I like repressed that for years, and I didn't even like, it was totally repressed for a long time until it just like came up one day that I was talking to Jason Katims, the showrunner of Rise, and just like about my character in Rise. And it just like came to me. I was like, have I ever like, did I ever, did trans representation ever affect me? And then like it kind of like came to me again, and I was like, oh my God, like if I had the words when I was a kid, like I would have understood and maybe come out sooner or realized sooner. Yeah, I feel great about, my journey and how it happened for me. I like figured out my gender identity with my partner. But yeah, I do frequently wonder like who I would be if I had figured it out sooner.
I totally empathize with that. I go back and look at some moments from my childhood or some photos, and it's like very obviously something queer is going up with me, but like there were no words given to me to describe that. Just like I could have been a whole different person.
Literally, this is why clear, concise trans representation is so important, or queer representation. Just any minority being properly represented on screen is so important.
There's also like that movement going on right now where it's like openly queer characters without saying it, but I'm like,
Oh my
that's
god,
still
yeah.
not giving kids the words to use. But like, it's whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there were even some instances in my show Rise where, in the script, uh, we were kind of tiptoeing around saying trans, and I understood like where that was coming from because like it's just kind of like a thing you do in TV. It's like with queer characters in general, there's just this like I don't know. It's just like been done so much. You know, not saying the word, like getting there, but almost saying it and not saying it. It just seems like that's just like a trend, I guess. Yeah, and there was one line where like my character was like, I was realizing that and like they almost said it and then says things were changing, and I told the showrunner I was like, I should just say it. I should just say I'm realizing I was trans, and he was like, okay. It's
Well,
just like
it's super
you
good
should
that they
say the
listen to you,
word.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's not ashamed of being trans, so I don't know why he wouldn't like why he'd be afraid to say it. That's really weird, and also it's just so important to hear it.
Yeah, I feel like, especially when it's like cis people predominantly writing trans characters, there's a tendency to not want to say that they're trans or queer or anything because it's like a touchy subject. But like
Yeah.
most trans people that I know who are like out and proud are proud of the fact that they're trans. So it's like, yeah, I'm trans. Like, here you go.
It's
I'm
almost
not
like
cis.
yeah, it's almost like they're treating it like a secret or like a mystery or like, oh my god, you're not supposed to know that. It's like
Yeah, it's like,
have
oh,
you
it's
ever met
taboo.
yeah,
Don't
have
talk
you ever
about
met a
it.
trans person IRL? Like everybody knows I'm trans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make it everyone's issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that there's just like, before Disclosure came out, that was like a really big thing for me that I like talked about and all the time was like, like why are we still like hiding away these characters when like you're putting them out there? And also it's just like I felt like when I realized what happened to me with Degrassi, I felt very strongly about the fact that like Hollywood and these producers and showrunners, like if you're going to have a trans person, you're taking on a gigantic responsibility. And, the Disclosure documentary, if you haven't watched it, you really should. It's on Netflix. That was a topic that was brought up as like, there's a responsibility that comes with it. And you can't just like take on a trans character and fuck it up because you're not only taking on a responsibility to represent trans people, you're taking on this responsibility to represent trans people for people who don't know or don't think they know any trans people in their real lives and don't know anything about trans people. Like you have a huge responsibility. If you do it wrong, you are actually like you are affecting people's lives like so personally. Like my life was so personally affected by Adam, and
Like I feel like it's the second you bring on like a marginalized character, you can be someone's like awakening into that marginalization, right? Which is like not something to play around with.
No, it isn't. That's exactly what I mean.
I was gonna ask, like, working on Rise, right? It looks like so much fun to be on. I know you kind of mentioned like what it was like to be on set, right? But like, what was it really like? Give us the juice.
The juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the time of my life for a while. It was really traumatic when we lost it.
Yeah,
Because
guys,
we
like, got
we
canceled
were
after
kind of
season.
promised a second season. It was like really promising, and then when we didn't get it, it was like a shock to everybody. And really devastating for my bank account because that would have been really great money to save for like future life things. And now I'm like talking with my partner, we're trying to buy a house, and like possibly I'm like, wow, that money would be really great right now. But anyway, I was just saying that I think I've moved on to a point in my life where yeah, that was like a really amazing time of my life, but now I'm like moving on to new things and better things, so that's really cool. But yeah, on set, well, I cannot sing Jason Katims' praises more. He's wonderful, and I'm just like so overjoyed to like say that I've been on a Jason Katims show because I'm obsessed with Parenthood. I watched it 3 times. I watched Friday Night Lights after I watched Parenthood, and I loved that too. Like, I'm a huge Jason Katims fan because I think he does authenticity so well. Like, his shows are just so real and like gritty and not walking on eggshells, not sugarcoating. It's just like life. And I think that that's a style of acting that I fall into so naturally. And I had always said before I got cast, I had always said like, oh, I would love to be in like a Jason Katims show. So I got that, and that was awesome.
Yes.
But really can't sing his praises enough because he, after the pilot when we got picked up, like the summer before we shot, which we shot in the fall of 2017. That summer he called me and he just wanted to have chats with me about like my own trans experience because he wanted to do it right. He wanted to represent this trans character correctly in the best way he could, and so he came to me to ask me about my experience, my specific experience. So I got to got to educate this huge person in the TV world on my identity, but also like no one's identity is the same. But he also wanted to know like where I saw Michael going and what I wanted to see with my character. That was awesome. I mean, I feel like I should have maybe gotten paid for consultation work, and I will remember next time if I like have that much input to ask for money. But I don't mind with Rise because it was so collaborative, and he listened to everything I had to say. If there was a problem I had with the script, I was like, that should be changed, and he'd change it. But it is really, really hard to be the only trans person on set, because I was the only trans person there. Like, there was one, well, at least that I know of, there was one writer who told me they were gender nonconforming. But like, the cast was amazing. They never misgendered me, and they understood me and thought, I was a really great part of the show, and they liked what was happening with Michael on the show. Like Rosie Perez and Josh Radner, everybody was really happy about me being there. There was the script supervisor who works like directly with the directors, and she was on the whole time. Like the directors shifted out, but she was there all the time working as script supervisor, and she misgendered me a lot, and it was really, really annoying. And it got, it just, I won't go into too much detail, but it was just like, she ended up telling me like, oh, my niece is trans, but it was really her nephew.
Ouch.
Yeah, so she like told me, she was like, I would never misgender you, and I was like, what the you have
just misgendered your family.
So
He literally.
I know. Yeah, for real.
So yeah, we talked a bit about Rise, but what other projects have you acted in that you would like to speak about?
So oh my god, now I'm like blanking. I'm just thinking of like the last two things I did. I was in a little project called Mashed. Look them up on like Instagram and TikTok, because it's gonna be like a really meaningful show. I don't know what they're doing with it technically. Like, we filmed it as a micro series, and that's like how it was supposed to be originally, but I think they have plans to turn it into like a pilot, to like make it a longer, maybe like half hour or 42-minute like series kind of thing. And it's just like in the very, like, not in the very beginnings, but because obviously we filmed, but it's not, I didn't film it for a network, so it's still available to be picked up at some point. So excited to see where that goes. And I got to play a non-binary character, which was really fun. And then I was just in another project where I played a non-binary character, for a short film. I just filmed it in Iowa, like in November. It's gonna be super funny, like super campy, like this ghost hunter team, like very, very queer. Like, there's a clairvoyant drag queen who's like is like on the team to like sense, use her like her senses. And but like there's a scene where like she's with a client, and there's like three ghosts behind him, like talking about the behind the client, talking about how like he needs to shower, he smells bad, like all this stuff. So it's like, it's really campy and stupid, but super, super fun. And I played Giz, like this techie kind of character who is also non-binary. And in my head I was going to be like playing a trans mask person, but then when we got on, I was like, maybe because I like makeup a lot. So I asked the makeup person if she could do like a little bit of like lipstick for me, like something subtle. But then she gave me this like bold lip, and I was like, I guess we're going with it. So like my character's very like gender fuck, and I like live for it. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I'm so excited. Like literally like dressing so trans mask, like with with my flat chest and this like bold lip. I'm super excited. It's gonna look so good. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. And there's hopes for that to be an actual like full-length feature film, because the short film was sort of filmed like a teaser, so that he can get like buzz going about it.
I hope he gets that. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so stupid, and I had a really good time filming it. It was like all he got like a bunch of friends, so I wasn't sure like how it was gonna be when we got on set, but everybody had worked a lot, like had like long resumes, like super professional, and I felt really great. We were ahead of time, like at some point in the day. I was like, this is awesome. Yeah, it was
Yes.
so productive. Yeah.
I love when things work out on set and aren't like lagging behind.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I actually had a question. I know you're doing like cinematography, like little short things that you're doing, which are absolutely beautiful, by the way. You're putting a lot of this stuff on your TikTok. Are you
Yeah.
like how's that going for you with TikTok and that?
Oh, I'm like really I don't know. I don't know how I feel about social media right now. It's like I used to get so bogged down all the time about social media, so I've sort of like trying to go off of it, but then of course like I want to post these cool things I'm making. So, well, TikTok especially, I don't know what is going on. I'm getting followed by bots like constantly. And so like I need like real people to follow me to like I don't know, like stop the bots from following me. I think that's the only way it's going to work. But I've also stopped using like queer hashtags and I'm like done with that. I'm just going to use those hashtags because I want that audience. I want queer people to find me and if it suppresses my content, whatever. But that is really frustrating. TikTok is like such a pain.
I put they
Yeah.
in my bio and like my entire account tanked.
Oh,
Like,
it's
straight
like
to
I don't
zero.
and it's so like out of your control. It's so frustrating. But yeah, I mean, it's now kind of my goal. Like videography, I think is like actually going to become like a thing for me, which feels really good because for a while, I haven't gotten like a big gig in a while, and I'm still acting and still pursuing that, and waiting for the next big thing. But for a while, that like hindered me and stopped me from like just like completely demotivated me, and I'm like kind of past that at this point. 27 is a weird age, y'all. Like it's so weird. I've like there's these huge shifts happening in my life where I'm like just find another thing, and I never thought I would find another thing that I loved as much as acting. Like fully never thought. I was like there's nothing. There's nothing for me. Like I should not have just gotten a BA in theater because now like I don't have like any other skills I can use to get a real job, and like that's how I've always felt. And then I was like I just got so tired of not being on set that I was like, let me buy a camera and I'll just create a set at home. Every time I film myself, I'm on set. So it's actually worked. Like
Yes.
it's made me feel really, I don't know, fulfilled. And now I've found that I'm pretty good at it, and I definitely want to try to like work with content creators. I love like dark academia, cottagecore content and stuff like that, and I follow a lot of like beautiful people that do cottagecore content, and I think that's kind of a niche I want to fall down into because I see a lot of people, a lot of those like content creators like work with photographers, and then like any video stuff they do on their own, and I'm like, wouldn't it be super cool to like work with content creators like that and tape them and like do some film content with them and get some really beautiful cinematic shots of like their ideas. And I mean like everybody I wish I want to do it, but I'm trying to like kind of create a wardrobe for it, but I don't have that. But there's these beautiful people that have gorgeous wardrobes, and I'm like I just want to work with them and film them. And so I think that's like a path I'm going down, and I've just started working with cheap old houses, and hopefully I'll be filming a house once a month for them. That was like all of a sudden, so that feels really good because I'm like totally an amateur, just starting out, but I'm good at it, and I feel really confident about that. Like I could actually do this, so that feels good.
Do you actually like have any plans for short films, like shorter videos?
Yeah, I think I don't have any plans because I don't write. Like I can write, but I
I do. I don't know if you saw me like just go hi.
okay, well, we'll work together. But like, yeah, I can't.
Collab.
I'd love to like write my own thing. I just actually, me and my partner went out into like the woods near us and just created like had this concept and created like a short film out of just a concept.
Yes.
And like, who knows what any of what we did means? Like what the story is behind it. We didn't make one, but there's a story, you know, and I put it together, and I do have a short film almost 3 minutes long.
Yeah, I did see that. That was so pretty.
Oh,
I
not
watched
even
Yeah.
that.
it.
There's another one.
Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, we did that, and then we did like a whole like concept story short film, like yeah, in like the same outfit with the same stuff.
Oh my god, I have to go find it right now.
No, I haven't posted it yet. I haven't posted it
Oh
yet.
no.
So
Okay,
I'll
okay.
let you guys know. But yeah, I'm excited about that. And yeah, I think I feel really confident in just picking up a camera and shooting and just filming something and knowing that I have enough of something, or just kind of making it up in the moment, like the shots that I would need, and then just putting it together and creating a film. Like it can be spontaneous, which is fun. And it can be one person holding the camera
Mm-hmm.
with natural light. Like I feel really good about that. I think I would have I like years ago, if I started this, I would have felt like inadequate, and like I don't have all this like beautiful, you know, expensive equipment. I don't have like a new camera, and I don't have lighting, and I don't have like a team. I don't have a partner. I don't have a writer. Like I would have gotten bogged down by that so hard.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know, I'm in a good place where I can just be confident in myself and go film something and put it together and have a short film. Why not?
I
So
love that.
yeah, so definitely plans to make short films. They're not verbalized yet.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see what you're putting out, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Nylon, you can write something for me.
Yeah, okay. Let me get started on that.
You had just mentioned Ren, your partner. I forget where I read this on the internet, but you had stated that you both met on Tumblr. So did you think that Tumblr was like a pivotal place that helped you figure out your queer identity? Because I know that it was for me. So like,
Yes. Oh my God. And there were many years that people would like blame Tumblr for transness. It was so weird. It was just like, no, it was just like people are coming on there and talking to each other about their experiences with gender. No, yeah, pivotal. I mean, I think also meeting Ren was really important. I probably would have figured it out on my own, but when Ren and I started dating, like those conversations were being had pretty much right away. You know, and I think I can't even fully remember, but he probably brought it up first that he didn't feel cis, and then I started like doing my own learning and educating myself and realizing like, oh, I don't think I'm cis either, and it explains a lot of my childhood. Like, I was like, oh, I've like really always been non-binary. Yeah. Tumblr was a huge help with like figuring out that I was trans, because it's just a lovely place. It was a safe place, and then also my relationship with Ren was a really safe place to, you know, explore these new terms I was finding, and you know, actually like put them into real life, and like, hey Ren, could you like call me your boyfriend today to see how I like it, and then he could feel safe to do the same. Yeah, that was Tumblr was wild. It was a really pivotal place to be, and in the time that I was on it, 2014 through 17, and then I got off of it.
I occasionally pop back on Tumblr.
I do
My
too.
old
I think
blog,
we should
too.
all go back over to it, honestly,
Agreed.
because Instagram is just like selling out. TikTok is not doing a good enough job at like keeping fake accounts off of it.
Yes.
Like it's just a mess. Like there's no good place to be. I'm just gonna post some stuff on YouTube, and like yeah, I think we should all go back to Tumblr for pictures. Yeah. Because Instagram's like trying to not to be a photo app.
Yeah, which is weird.
It's so
Just
weird.
stick to what you know. Don't reinvent the wheel. You know?
Yup.
I know, like you mentioned earlier, like how Tumblr was like blamed for a bunch of trans people, right? And like I guess when we get into like more smaller labels or like micro labels when it comes to like trans people, that's kind of like where everyone's like attention goes. And because like your pivotal moment on like Tumblr with your identity, right? You use like the full non-binary, trans, mass, genderqueer, like agender flex. Like you make sure everyone knows that those are all your labels, instead of like like with me, like I just like dumb it down, like say trans mask, but like I have a very expensive gender underneath that, but I don't share it like you do, right?
Yeah. That was the thing. I really wanted to make sure I wasn't just like put out there as like a non-binary actor, because honestly, and I have been, it's just sort of fallen into that way, which is unfortunate, because I think I'd rather be known as a genderqueer actor. I feel a lot more like aligned with that term. You know, if I'm gonna umbrella myself, genderqueer is just nicer.
Right.
Fits me better. Yeah, no, I used to water myself down a lot, especially when I first started like talking to press, because I was like told that it was, you know, important to not confuse people, you know, and not make it too confusing. And thinking back, I'm like, oh, I was like kind of erased in that way, and my expansive identity was kind of erased and watered down, and I kind of let it happen because I thought it made sense. I wanted to help educate people, but there's, like we were talking about, there's, you can't educate people on an expansive gender if you're not saying the words.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's I see that there's always so much hate on the internet for micro labels and people being like, well, we have all these words for a reason, like use them. But I flip that argument back up. I'm like, well, yeah, we have all these words for a reason, use them. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I was in the comment section recently with a bunch of you know, cishet people. It was a news thing said pregnant people instead of pregnant women.
Mhm.
And, you know, there was a bunch of like close-minded cishet people in the comments being like, it's man and woman, it's man and woman. I'm like, y'all are always like telling trans people we're making it about ourselves, but you seem to be making it a lot about yourself right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and also like, why is pregnant people such an attack on you? Aren't women people? It's just,
there's
it's
a
so
whole conversation
confusing.
about that because it feels like, oh, you've taken away the one thing that women are known to do. It's like they're still people, guys.
Yeah, and they still do it. We're not taking that away.
Yeah.
And people are
just-
wild.
wild.
God, it is. It's frustrating.
I think we're about out of questions / out of time for our interview, so I think we can get
Okay.
out of here. Would you like to go ahead and direct people to your social media, stuff like that?
Oh heck yeah. I'm oh, you know, Ellie on just about everything. That's my handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just about everything. You can follow me on Twitter if you want. I never go on there. I feel like I always say that in every podcast I'm on. It's so lame. So yeah, please follow me on TikTok because I would like to get some like real people following me, and hopefully the bots will go away because that's been really annoying to have to go in and block. And then bots and children. I'm like, stop, Guinness,
Yeah.
please stop. Oh my god. So yeah, please follow me there just so that the algorithm can be nicer to me. And definitely Instagram. I post, I prefer to post like my reels and videography on Instagram. Just because it does better anyway. So
Yes.
follow me there. And then you can follow me on YouTube. I think it's just Ellie Desautels on YouTube. And I'll post like my longer projects there.
Cool. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Of course. I love y'all.
Love you
Thank you,
too.
love you too.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much again for like joining us.
Yes.
And I think we will see you later.
Yeah. And we'll collab. We'll talk.
I'm wishing you a fruitful 2022, a
Thanks.
thriving 2022.
Yes.
All right, bye.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.
All right, everybody, that's all we have for today. We love Ellie. We hope to see Ellie again. We hope that you go to their social media and support them. And we
Yes.
hope that you can also go to our social media and support us as we expand the remainder of our season to more career creatives. So you can go and follow us. Instagram is at into_the studio. On Twitter, it's just at into the studio. And YouTube, you can now find us at like the custom URL into the studio 323. Go ahead and follow us on all those. We'll see you later.
Bye.